Evening all. Now, for my narrow gauge layout, I'm going to need a number of wagons. And I thought this might be a good opportunity to do some scratch building, not least because I found some Picot wagon chassis kits. Now, the gauge I'm modelling in is 009, which is N gauge track to 00 scale. And obviously that means that there's a lot that you can do using N gauge bits and pieces. The Picot 9-foot wagon chassis is a popular basis for scratch building and kit building. As you can see, it's fairly inexpensive. I've got them, I've picked them up in bits boxes for as little as £1, because a lot of people don't want the hassle of putting a chassis together. But it's not so hard. Famous last words. But I am going today to build me a wagon using one of these chassis. There's not much in the packet. There's a couple of sprues. There's a set of wheels. There's 2 sets of couplings and a wagon weight. Now, in 009 there is a standard kind of coupler that a lot of people use. I'm going to stick with the N-gauge coupler just because it's what I have to hand. It's what my locomotives, which are also built on N-gauge chassis, already have fitted. And I'm not really planning to run this stuff with any ready-to-run models that would be fitted with the 009 coupling. Also, this is just more discreet, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get down to it. Oops, slightly overdid it with the glue there. There we go. That is the brake gear in place. Well, here's the basic chassis, just waiting for the cement to dry. It's quite a simple kit. Apart from the coupling assembly, it's 6 pieces. Oh, plus the wheels and the weight, but you know what I mean, let's not get pedantic. I would say it's not a difficult kit to assemble. It is fiddly, and that's not the kit, that's the scale. I don't think there is any way realistically you could improve on the kit to make it non-fiddly. So, I'm hoping I've assembled that right. It's going to run okay, but we'll see. Well, despite my misgivings, the chassis seems to have gone together all right. It seems to roll pretty smoothly. I'm not sure how you're supposed to fit the weight. It doesn't neatly fit anywhere. So I don't know. I might have to conceal something under a load maybe, or come up with a different weight and fit it under the decking. I'll think about it. So the body for this wagon is going to be about as simple as it gets. It's just going to be a flat deck. So what I'm using is this, which is styrene sheet. Now, working with plastic always sounds terribly frightening. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually fine. See, all you need to do is, whoops, is score it with the knife, thus, and then it comes out like that, just snaps out. Let's check the fit of that. It looks a bit wider at one end than the other to me. Let's, if I measured that wrong. Oh. Well, according to this, it's the same. Who knows? Okay, well, the problem was not that the ends were different lengths. It was that the sides were different lengths. So I've just given it a bit of a trim. Next up, I just want to score some planks into this. Not too deep, because as you just saw, this stuff is quite easy to cut. I'm just doing it by eye. I can afford it to be a little bit rough, because the basic concept here is that that these wagons are kind of homemade. Like the railway's workshop just threw something together. So that's complete, and once again the black components and the white are playing hob with my contrast. But let's just stick this whole thing together, shall we? Oh, E. Okay, just going to leave that to dry, then we'll move on to the painting stage. Right, I've primed it. Now I'm just going to go over it with a sort of beigey colour. The look I'm going for is old unpainted wood. You ever seen that film, Paint Your Wagon? I mean, it's not great, but it does feature an utterly bizarre musical turn by Lee Marvin. That's not relevant to this, I just thought I'd bring it up. Now what I'm doing next is, I've come across this, which is Vallejo Woodgrain. It looks like a sort of wash for creating a wood grain effect, and I'm just sort of curious about it. Interesting. I mean, it's a very kind of, yeah, it's pretty thin. Not sure about that. Do the rest and see how it comes out. Well, short answer, I don't like that at all. That's just kind of orangey. That's not really what I was hoping for. So what I've done instead now is I've got some of Rail Match's Sleeper Grime, which is a much dirtier shade. Yeah, that's more like it. That's more the sort of thing. Yeah, I'm applying it very thinly, but several times over. Actually, you know what, I might go with a slightly thicker wash. And with old wood, you don't want to go straight up brown, in my experience. Like, you know, it's obviously wood is brown, but it's, you know, it's also grey, it's also beige, it's, you know, it's not like it's I don't know how to put it. It's not brown the way brown paint is brown, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, I'm going to mess around with this a bit. I'm going to add more browns and greys and such. Oh, see that's good. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the kind of thing I want. Okay. I'm going to wait for that to dry. Then I'm going to go a bit heavier. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm kind of running the tip of the brush through the wash as it dries to get that wood grainy effect. I mean, I think basically the key with painting and model making in general is, you know, just experiment until you find something you like. That I quite like. Now I'm using my tiniest brush to pick out the underframe detail. All the bits that would be metal on the real thing. Oops. The painting's done. Now, as a final touch, I'm going to add a bit of weathering powder just to dull it down a bit. Oh, and I want a touch of rust around the brake shoes there. Lovely. There, finished. That's a nice simple scratch build. As you could see, it took very little time. Like, you could assemble a whole rake of these in an evening. I'm planning to put a few more together. I'm thinking I might do a few different variations on it, you know, because these are just supposed to be homemade in the railway's own workshop, so, you know, they probably would look very different. Anyway, that's my first wagon for Porthmeyn. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again very soon. Have a great week. Cheerio.